Welcome back to the main stage. I hope your morning is going well and that you are enjoying the annual conference. As the new CEO of the Michigan Works Association, this is my first annual conference, and with that comes my first opportunity to announce our 2021 award winners. Before I get to the awards, though, I want to talk about the association's Business Solutions Professional Program. When it comes to finding and boosting local talent, there's no substitute for a Michigan Works Association Business Solutions Professional. I know this because I myself am a BSP. The BSP program adds an elevated level of knowledge and expertise that assists professionals in discovering new approaches to addressing customer needs. Upon completion of the BSP program, individuals have a powerful understanding of how to connect community members with available assets and resources, from training grants and business consultation to tax-related incentives, education programs, and business networks, just to name a few. Those who go through the BSP program learn how to approach business challenges and effectively leverage key partnerships in talent development, economic development, and education, among others, to provide business solutions. They also gain a deeper understanding of the public and private assets available to business clients. They'll learn how to apply the BSP model and process to real-world business challenges through case studies, group work, and field work. They'll hear from experts that are using the BSP model in their daily encounters with business clients, and they'll also unlock the key to a demand-driven approach to talent needs. The Michigan Works Association is proud of the BSP program, which educates approximately 80 business solutions professionals each year in crucial workforce development skills so that our members and community partners can work effectively within a demand-driven system. During this past year, the BSP program was conducted virtually for the first time. We had 76 participants, and our trainers were able to adapt and provide the content successfully in a virtual environment. Additionally, for the first time, we conducted 2 condensed BSP courses entitled Essentials of Business Solutions Professional for Career Service. This condensed course features 2 full days of training instead of 6 full days with the traditional course. It also allows staff to be introduced to the concepts of the Business Solutions Professionals curriculum and mindset without them taking the 6 full days out of their schedule. It serves well as an introduction for new business services staff or as a refresher. The condensed course was such a resounding success that we plan to continue to offer it in 2022 and beyond. Last year, the International Association of Continuing Education and Training awarded the Michigan Works Association the prestigious Accredited Provider Accreditation. IACET accredited providers are the only organizations approved to offer IACET continuing education units. The accreditation period extends for 5 years and includes the association's BSP program. Our accreditation is a demonstration of our commitment to quality continuing education and high standards for all our programs. As an organization that strives for the gold standard in professional development, we wanted to ensure we are offering a BSP program that is accredited and that allows participants to earn continuing education credits. We are very pleased to join such a prestigious organization, as well as an elite group of organizations that offer excellent continuing education and training programs. For more information about the BSP program, visit the Michigan Works Association website at michiganworks.org/BSP-training. Now, on to our awards ceremony. Prior to joining the Michigan Works Association, I spent 8 years at the Michigan Economic Development Corporation, where I most recently served as a regional director of growth and development. My team focused on business retention and expansion, so I have a special appreciation for the employers in our state. And I'm truly honored to announce Bronson Healthcare as the 2021 Employer of the Year Award winner. The Employer of the Year Award recognizes private sector companies that, in partnership with Michigan Works, go beyond the call of duty, continuously contributing to local job placement and promoting education to maintain a skilled workforce. Bronson Healthcare is being honored for their commitment to training and developing a pipeline of skilled and competent talent in Michigan. The year 2020 will forever be synonymous with the pandemic. It was a tough year for all industries and employers across not only our local communities, but the state of Michigan and the nation. Perhaps none had a more difficult time than those in the healthcare industry. When essential work and essential workers are considered, we must first and foremost think of the individuals and employers comprising the healthcare sector who worked tirelessly on the front line of this pandemic to provide care and healing to so many. Bronson has been an active partner with Michigan Works Southwest as not only a member of the Employer Resource Network, but also through talent development and retention efforts with the business services team and as a Going Pro Talent Fund recipient in 2020. While Bronson's slogan, Bronson Positivity, was truly put to the test this past year, they have continued to be a true leader and supporter of not just their community, but also workforce development in general. I present to you the 2021 Employer of the Year, Bronson Healthcare.
At Bronson Healthcare, our mission states, together we advance the health of our communities. Now, we know that building a healthy community goes beyond the care provided in our exam rooms. Healthy communities need stable employment opportunities, a skilled workforce, and living wage jobs. As the largest employer in Southwest Michigan, we have a responsibility to bring healthcare to the forefront for students as they consider their talents, their interests, and future careers, as well as to create career pathways and growth opportunities for our current workforce. We're proud of our many efforts that show our commitment to this work. Through our participation in the Employer Resource Network, we offer on-site success coaches at our two largest hospitals to help employees overcome barriers to successful employment. We've had the privilege of being involved in Michigan Career Quest since its inception, which introduces thousands of area middle school students to potential careers each year. And Bronson is a recent recipient of the GoPro grant, which will provide us with $408,000 to use toward hiring of Michiganders into living wage job opportunities. Partnering with Michigan Works has helped us build a school and community relationship that connects people with the many rewarding jobs Bronson has to offer. We are truly honored to be engaged in this work and to be recognized as the Michigan Works Association Employer of the Year.
Congratulations again to Bronson Healthcare. I am now excited to share with you this year's Shining Star Award winners. The Shining Star Award honors our Michigan Works staff for their dedication and hard work they do on the front lines every day. This past year has been particularly tough for frontline staff due to the COVID crisis. Michigan Works frontline staff have continued to provide essential services to their clients from home. Over and above their normal workload, many staff volunteered to assist the state's unemployment insurance agency with the huge influx of calls they received due to record unemployment filings tied to the COVID crisis. Through it all, they have persevered, and the great work they do every day shined even brighter. And now I present to you the 2021 Shining Star Award winners, one from each Michigan Works organization from across the state. It is a true honor for me to share with you this year's Shining Star Award winners. The Shining Star Award honors our Michigan Works staff for their dedication and hard work they do on the front lines every day. The past couple of years have been particularly tough for frontline staff due to the COVID crisis. Over and above their normal workload, many staff volunteered to assist the state's unemployment insurance agency with the huge influx of calls they received due to record unemployment filings tied to the COVID crisis. Through it all, they have persevered, and the great work they do every day shined even brighter this year than any year before. And now I present to you the 2021 Shining Star Award winners, one from each Michigan Works organization from across the state. Janelle Doherty from Capital Area Michigan Works. Janelle believes in empowering not only the staff she manages, but also the customers she engages with daily. She provides the tools to help people who may begin their journey feeling uncertain to instead have confidence in their own skill sets and experiences to take the next step in their career journeys. Janelle has consistently taken a team-centered leadership approach to working with the staff she supervises, and this approach has resulted in her team receiving rave reviews from the customers they serve, the regional partners they engage with, and the peers and the centers who look to Janelle as a program leader in the local system. Ayonda Grant from Detroit Employment Solutions Corporation. Ayonda is detail-oriented, energetic, innovative, and dedicated. She is confident and knowledgeable about the services DESC offers and committed to the work she does, sharing the vision of empowering the families that she serves in the city of Detroit. The customers that receive services from Ayonda benefit from her experience, strong sense of support, efficiency, and dependability, as well as from her warmth and approachability. Sheril Tarrant from Great Lakes Bay Michigan Works. Sheril consistently strives to provide new and innovative programs to the region's employers to assist them in realizing their talent needs. Throughout the pandemic, Sheril led her team through difficult situations, providing never-before-seen solutions for safely and effectively connecting employers with job seekers, increasing performance beyond pre-COVID levels. Sheril's leadership and tireless dedication to the Michigan Works mission has set the standard for service delivery. Jewel Ann Kinzel from GST Michigan Works. In addition to her regular duties, Jewel Ann took on the task of being the point of contact for all Michigan Works unemployment insurance agency activity, in addition to her regular duties as a program manager and policy guru. Not only did she assist staff through the technical aspects of gaining access to the unemployment system, but also acted as a liaison, trainer, troubleshooter, and more. She became the person everyone came to with their most difficult scenarios and most desperate callers, approaching each day with a calm demeanor and an unparalleled compassion. Lori Hampton from Macomb, St. Clair, Michigan Works. Lori's supervisor describes her as the kind of employee every supervisor seeks. As a career planner, Lori is persistent in her efforts to advocate for all her customers to ensure their needs are met so they can be successful in reaching their employment goals. Lori is reliable and can be counted on to brighten up anyone's day, including her coworkers, customers, and workshop attendees. Her inclusive nature is respected among her fellow career planners and administrative staff. As an 18-year veteran with Macomb St. Clair Michigan Works, Lori is as dynamic today as she was when she started. Kelly Wilson from Berrien, Cass, Van Buren, Michigan Works. Kelly has been a fixture at Berrien, Cass, Van Buren, Michigan Works over the past decade. Her work in workforce development has dramatically benefited job seekers, businesses, and communities across Southwest Michigan and beyond. She pushes herself beyond her comfort zone by mastering new virtual case management tools, presenting on air to promote Michigan Works programs, and going above and beyond to assist trainees and apprentices in meeting their career goals. Yolanda Romel from Michigan Works Northeast Consortium. Yolanda has an unwavering commitment to bringing out the best in everyone. She demonstrates notable passion and dedication for serving job seekers in her community, and her coworkers recognize her as a team player who is committed to success and is always willing to step in and help. Yolanda is a jack of all trades, doing whatever job is needed above and beyond her career navigator duties. She is the heart and soul of her office and always goes the extra mile, no matter how uphill the climb may seem. Anna Hetherington from Michigan Works 7B Consortium. Anna not only maintained poise during the very hectic and stressful pandemic, but she also continued to give excellent customer service. Customer service is something Anna is known for, and no matter how many times she had said it before or how many times she knew she would have to repeat the same information again, she treats every claimant as if they are the only one. She is an integral part of the Michigan Works Region 7B family. Stacy Reese from Michigan Works Southeast. Stacy's contribution to team and culture consistently exceeds expectations. She achieves this by the examples she sets, quick to volunteer, her willingness to assist, always willing to listen, approaching obstacles with a positive can-do attitude. Stacy is a highly valued member of the Michigan Works Southeast team. Blaine Farr from Michigan Works Southwest. Blaine never hesitates to meet with customers seeking guidance for employment and training opportunities. He is always one of the first to step up and collaborate with partners to identify and develop strategies to improve service delivery. His knowledge, passion, and experience have been critical to many successes within the Michigan Works Southwest WIOA adult and dislocated worker programs. While his humble demeanor shies away from the spotlight, he deserves recognition for his hard work and commitment to providing the best possible service to job seekers. Renee Pickard from Michigan Works West Central. Working as a case manager and talent specialist is more than just a job to Renee. She comes in early and stays long after the workday has ended because she is not only passionate about helping her clients, but she also wants to be the very best she can be at her job. She has a heart of gold and she cares deeply about her coworkers and the community. Renee truly embodies many of the values Michigan Works West Central operates under and is a great example of humility to all those around her. Pam Anderson from Northwest Michigan Works. Pam has devoted her time and effort to assisting individuals as they work to achieve their goals and dreams. Her vast scope of responsibility envelops a rural area that encompasses an incredible 1,450 square miles, making outreach a significant challenge. Her ability to reach people in this large area is confirmation of her high energy, work ethic, and dedication. Throughout the pandemic, Pam showed no signs of slowing down, frustration, or defeat. She remained an anchor for her customers, peers, and community. Her positive attitude led to innovative solutions that focused on providing world-class employment services. Denise VanHee from Oakland County, Michigan works. Denise is passionate about her work, leading numerous employer-driven projects for Michigan Works, including Going Pro Talent Fund applications, partnerships with Magna, FCA, and Amazon, and virtual job fair events. She is a rising star in Oakland County and inspires her staff and community. Denise brings an energy and enthusiasm to her role and can be counted on to make everyone smile. Justin Skybin from SEMCA, Michigan works. Justin is known for his ardent communication with employers that results in new partnerships, trainings, and placement opportunities. As a result of his hands-on efforts last year, 21 of Justin's employer partners were awarded funds to participate in the Going Pro Talent Fund. Justin consistently makes memorable, positive impressions in the lives of customers and employers alike. With his impressive resilience and can-do attitude, Justin has been able to place numerous customers in jobs that have led to meaningful careers. Russell Utych from Upper Peninsula, Michigan works. Russell goes above and beyond to ensure everyone is well taken care of and that clients are using Michigan Works programs efficiently. He has many talents that are used in various ways to support the Upper Peninsula Michigan Works team. He has impeccable writing skills, attention to detail, a passion for grant writing, and takes a positive approach to all he does. Russell demonstrates that every individual is important through his respectful communication and treats everyone with kindness. Wave Burns from West Michigan works. During one of the most challenging years we have ever experienced, Wave has shown unwavering commitment to her job, community, and job seekers. She has weathered many changes in her workload, work environment, and even the type of work she has been asked to do. Whether it was helping individuals navigate the uncertainty of unemployment, assisting other staff by researching unemployment questions and issues, or pivoting back to the regular work of reemployment, Wave has consistently gone above and beyond what was asked of her. She gives 100% no matter the task and shines as an example of one of the very best in the Michigan Works Network. Thank you to all our shining stars for the great work they do every day across the Michigan Works Network. Congratulations to all of our 2021 Shining Star Award winners. It is now my distinct honor and pleasure to introduce the first of 3 Michigan Works Association 2021 Champions of Workforce Development Award winners. John Bierbussy, former director of Macomb St. Clair Michigan Works. The Champions of Workforce Development Award exemplifies the highest standards of leadership while recognizing individuals who have made significant contributions to workforce development in Michigan. John served as the executive director of the Macomb St. Clair Workforce Development Board since the creation of the organization in 1983. He led the organization through 3 major legislative initiatives: the Job Training Partnership Act, the Workforce Investment Act, and the present Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act. As executive director, John led the local implementation of numerous workforce programs designed to address the workforce needs of public assistance recipients, dislocated workers, offenders, aging, and youth, as well as the public. John dedicated his professional life to Macomb and St. Clair counties. He has left an incredible positive impression on those who had the opportunity to work with him. Macomb St. Clair Michigan Works will carry on his dedication and spirit of service to the residents and businesses of those counties. Thank you to John Bierbussy for your 38 years of dedication to the workforce development system, and congratulations on being inducted into the Michigan Champions of Workforce Development.
Ryan, thank you for that kind introduction. I want to also thank Mark Berrien for nominating me for this honor. Mark is such a creative director, and he will now become the senior director in the state of Michigan. I checked the association website and found that only 23 people have been inducted into the Champions of Workforce Development. To be included with such notables as Ralph Lashner, Doug Stites, Mark Pickla, John Olmsted, Elaine Wood, and Bob Pendleton is a great honor. As notable as the aforementioned champions were, the Michigan Works Association is very fortunate to have upcoming workforce development champions that will outshine the present members. Such people as Ben Damara, Jacob Moss, Greg Petoniak, Jennifer Llewellyn, Jody Curbison, Todd Gustafson, and Mark Verdan, and of course, Stephanie Beckhorn. I would like to also thank the members of the Macomb St. Clair Workforce Development Board for providing me with great guidance and allowing me the opportunity to be involved in workforce issues at both the state and federal level. I think the people that should be recognized as true champions of workforce development are those staff who work in our Michigan Works career centers throughout the state. They practice workforce development every day and are the backbone that makes the Michigan Works service delivery system the very best in the nation. I want to also congratulate my good friend Bill Slate on also being inducted today. Over the many years that I've worked with Bill, I was always amazed at how he could articulate the most difficult issue so concisely. Congratulations, Bill. Thank you again to the association for honoring me today, and have a great conference.
Congratulations again to John Bierbussy. And now I will present the second of 3 Champions of Workforce Development Awards to Bill Slate, former director of Michigan Works Southeast. When Bill graduated from Michigan State University in 1977 with his master's degree in public administration, he noticed an advertisement in the local newspaper for a manpower specialist and applied, not really knowing what he was applying for. Little did he know that the job he would eventually get would lead to a fulfilling career. And over the course of that career, Bill helped lead the merger of 3 different organizations: Livingston County Michigan Works, South Central Michigan Works, and Washtenaw County Michigan Works into Michigan Works Southeast. Receiving numerous awards from a variety of local, regional, and statewide agencies for his dedication to workforce development, Bill committed his career to improving the lives of others. Bill's 43 years of experience allowed him to experience all aspects of workforce development, and this level of institutional knowledge allowed him to serve at a high capacity. He was a thoughtful leader in legislative affairs and helped creatively solve many programmatic issues. Bill's knowledge will be missed, and the Michigan Works Network is better because of his involvement. Thank you to Bill Slate for your 43 years of dedication to the workforce development system, and congratulations on being inducted into the Michigan Champions of Workforce Development.
Thank you, Ryan. I'm truly humbled by this honor. First, I want to take a moment to congratulate my friend and colleague, John Bierbussy, who's also being honored. John and I both started out managing CETA programs, and we watched as the system grew and evolved into what we see today. I valued his counsel and insights and admire his many contributions to the Michigan Works system. John and I may be among the few persons who have attended every Michigan Works conference, even the conferences before we were called Michigan Works. It was always a highlight for me to see my mentors, friends, and colleagues be recognized for their achievements. I never expected to be selected as one of the champions of workforce development, so this is a real thrill for me. I would like to thank the association for this recognition. I would also like to thank the team at Michigan Works Southeast, our Workforce Development Board members and elected officials, my fellow directors, our state partners, and my many friends throughout the workforce system for their support and encouragement throughout the years. And of course, I want to thank my family for putting up with the countless early morning and late night meetings. Since I was not a firefighter, police officer, doctor, teacher, or coach, I had trouble explaining my job to my children. I'm not sure they ever really knew what I did for a living. In part, this is because few people grow up thinking that they will be workforce development professionals. Like many of you, I happened upon this career almost by accident. My academic advisor, who was also dean of my college, taught a class on the history of employment and training programs. He suggested I take his class, and being no fool, I accepted his offer. I'm not sure it made a difference when I applied for a job in the local CETA program, but at least I knew what the letters stood for. I had no expectation that I would make a career in this field, but once you see the impact you can have on individuals, on businesses, and on our communities, it's hard to leave. A lot has changed in the workforce system since I began in 1977. In those days, our primary services were subsidized employment and a large summer youth program. We did not treat employers as our primary customer. There was little coordination and collaboration with the 30 or so local programs operating in federally funded services. And certainly, there was no statewide organization to support and advocate for the workforce system. My first job title was manpower specialist, title which is a little bit archaic today. However, a lesson I learned in that first job stuck with me throughout my career. Shortly after I was hired, my boss told me she was working with the state's welfare agency to create a program that would teach recipients how to find and keep a job. The thought was that if we could work together to teach basic job search skills while also addressing the many challenges the customers face, we could move them off welfare sooner. My boss also reached out to our community education program, which agreed to provide a facility, curriculum, development assistance, and an instructor to join me in delivering the program. I floundered a bit in the beginning, but eventually we developed a successful program that moved people from welfare to jobs. Soon, we opened the program to everyone in the community, even delivered a version of it in the county jail. Today, this approach seems all too familiar as job search classes for welfare recipients evolved into more refined programs like JET, Work First, and PATH. But 44 years ago, this was a novel idea. Now, the important lesson here is not the program design we developed. It's by working with our community partners, we can improve the quality and effectiveness of our programs. Throughout my career, I've applied this principle to other situations. And as I reflect back on some of my most satisfying accomplishments, they were the result of these partnerships and collaborations. Some were short-term, some still exist today, but all had more impact because we worked together. I watched as well as the workforce system embraced this approach. We've all developed innovative and effective partnerships with in our own communities. These partnerships have changed the lives of job seekers, helped our businesses and communities grow and prosper. So as I accept this recognition, I challenge and encourage you to continue to seek out new alliances, new collaborations to address the many needs of our businesses and job seekers. As we have seen all too clearly over the last year and a half, our industries and jobs are changing rapidly and dramatically, and our workforce system must change as well if we are to remain relevant. I have every confidence that if we strengthen existing partnerships while creating new ones, the workforce system will play a major role in addressing these challenges. Thank you again for this great honor. I hope you enjoy the rest of the conference.
Congratulations again to Bill Slate. And now I will present the final of 3 Champions of Workforce Development Awards to Luann Dunsford, former CEO of the Michigan Works Association. Over the course of 2 decades with the Michigan Works Association, Luann worked closely with the association's board of directors to support members and workforce partners by providing top-notch leadership resources, making valuable connections, and delivering high-impact events and training. Luann took particular pride in and had great respect for the coordination, cooperation, and commitment that is exemplified within the Michigan workforce system, working toward one goal to break down barriers so that all can prosper. Her belief that much more can be accomplished when working together is the bedrock of the relationships she developed and the foundation for leading coordinated workforce advocacy and education efforts nationally and within the state.
When I created the Champions of Workforce Development Award to honor those strong Michigan Works leaders who gave their all, I had no thought that I would be inducted. Thank you so much, Mark Berdan, for believing in me, for nominating me, and putting me alongside such incredible leaders. I really appreciate it. Congratulations to John Bierbussy and Bill Slate, my fellow inductees. It was an honor, a blessing, a gift to work with you all of these years. There are far too many people to thank in just a short period of time, but I do need to shout out a few. I've had the good fortune to work with some high-performing professionals on my Michigan Works Association team over the years, most notably Mallory Zimmerman and Anissa Mazuka. Together, we forged new ground and we delivered something magical. Whether we were working with Microsoft or Disney, or working to get the U.S. Secretary of Labor to come to our conference, or the governor or some other dignitary, we had one goal in mind, and that was to make sure that that we delivered an experience that was top notch for our members. I also have had the good fortune to work with some really, really committed private sector leaders. Thank you so much to Frank Lopez and to Will Karn, Bill Stanek, Jane Doty, David Goodrow, Charlie Mahoney. These prior and current board members give unwavering support in their community and across the state and our nation. Thank you. When I took over as CEO, I relied on 4 very
Congratulations again to Luann Dunsford and to all of our award winners. Next up, I have the privilege of introducing John Pallas, Assistant Attorney General for the state of Michigan. He is the Attorney General Office's expungement expert and has been working on the state's Clean Slate program. Michigan Works is excited to partner with the Attorney General's office on this important effort that has made Michigan a national leader in helping residents more easily set aside criminal records and get a clean slate, giving them the opportunity to find good jobs and secure safe and affordable housing. Our Michigan Works Clean Slate navigators across the state are working closely with the Attorney General's office in their communities to offer expungement events for Michigan residents who are eligible to have their convictions set aside. John will provide us with an update on this important program as well as take questions following his update. Without further ado, please welcome John Pallas.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Everybody can hear me okay and see my screen, hopefully. What I'm going to do today is talk for about 15 minutes, possibly less, possibly a little bit more, about the Clean Slate Act and how it's really radically changed things in terms of expungement practice, and also some things that are coming up with the Clean Slate Act over the next couple of years. And in addition to some issues that have come up with the Clean Slate Act and some problems that we've been encountering or seeing with the application of the Clean Slate Act. And then I'll also be talking about the benefits of expungements, the societal benefits of expungements and why they are so important. I really appreciate being invited here. Attorney General Nessel was unable to make it here personally, but she definitely cares a lot about expungements. It's one of her major initiatives in her term as Attorney General, and so that's very important to her. And she, sends her greetings to all of you. Okay, just very quickly, the little disclaimer here that if any statements I make in this presentation are my own and not necessarily intended to reflect the views, opinions, or position of the Michigan Attorney General or the Michigan Department of Attorney General. Okay, some of the objectives that I want to do in this relatively short presentation, and then I'll definitely answer questions at the end of it, and I can hopefully answer a lot of questions that some of you may have. Objectively, the objectives I'd like to set for this short presentation are to discuss the societal benefits of expungements, to discuss how to increase the number of citizens taking advantage of the Clean Slate Act and its expansive provisions, to discuss the most significant components of the Clean Slate Act, to discuss several issues that have arisen with the application of the Clean Slate Act since it's gone into effect, to discuss some upcoming provisions of the Clean Slate Act, which will be going into effect over the next couple of years, and finally to answer questions about the Clean Slate Act and its application. One of the things that I think this is a stunning statistic that when I first saw it, I often quoted. Estimates indicate that as of this date, as of right now, several 100,000 to as many as 1 million people. I mean, think about that. 1 million people in the state of Michigan have become eligible to have their convictions expunged. And that's from a Free Press article from earlier this year. What are the benefits of expungements? Well, certainly from a work perspective, a successful applicant can legally state on any job or school application that they have never been convicted of the expunged offenses. A successful applicant can also legally state on applications for public benefits or housing that they've never been convicted of the expunged offenses. And this last statistic here on this particular slide is illuminating, and some of this was done under the prior version of the statute, so I suspect that these numbers are going to be even higher. But according to a recent University of Michigan study, after having a record expunged, job seekers obtained employment at an increase of 11%, And more importantly, their income rose by about 25% in 2 years. So expungements make a difference. They really make a difference in terms of employment, in terms of workforce, in terms of people being able to start with a clean slate, so to speak, and be able to help things move ahead in their life. But these benefits will only occur if an applicant files, at least right now, only if an applicant files a request to expunge his or her convictions. And one of the statistics from that study that I cited on the prior slide is kind of disturbing, to be perfectly honest. As of June of 2020, only 6.5% of people who qualify for expungement in Michigan have had their records cleared within 5 years of becoming eligible. Think about that. That means about 93% of the people who are eligible for expungement are not filing applications. This is really, when you think about it, a stunning number. And so we have to all think about what can be done to dramatically increase the number of eligible people filing applications to expunge their convictions. I mean, how can we make this number go higher? Because 6.5 out of 100% is really not much. How to improve this statistic? Well, certainly one of the ways is more investment in programs meant to assist citizens in obtaining expungements. And I cite the award of about $4 million to 16 of your own Michigan Works agencies across the state to fund localized expungement assistance efforts. The other way, one of the ways of doing this are becoming much more common this year. There were some of these before, but not as many as there have been this year, are expungement fairs or events, whether they're done in person or virtually. I know I can speak for the Attorney General when we've partnered with various partners to do an expungement fair in Genesee County, Kalamazoo, and we also had a booth set up at a recent Veterans Fair in Muskegon. So these kinds of events really raise awareness, because one of the things that they do is the media gets attention to them. And so people start learning, hey, that conviction I got 20 years ago, I can actually do something about it. So, it's important to try to use some of these methods to increase the number of people that are actually taking advantage of what are, as we'll see, are very expansive expungement laws. The other thing that I think in this day and age in particular, putting more information about expungement options out on the website, out on the internet, and in the media. For example, there's Michigan Legal Help's website that actually has like a tool for an applicant to actually go through and fill out an application online. There's, of course, the Michigan Attorney General's website on her expungement initiative, and there's the link to that. We have on our website a number of checklists and instructions and phone numbers and emails, to connect with us in case people are having problems with the expungement process. And of course, all of the individual Michigan Works web pages that are out there on expungement. I was looking at just some of them last night, and they're very impressive. So I think one way of improving that horrible 6.5% statistic is by actually publicizing things more and using the internet, using the media to make sure that people know about the Clean Slate Act, because it won't do any good if people don't know about it. Okay, now I want to talk for just a minute about the 2020 amendments to the expungement statute, which was known as the Clean Slate Act. In 2020, towards the end of the year, Governor Gretchen Whitmer signed into law the Clean Slate Act, which significantly changed expungement law and procedure in Michigan. What it did was it expanded the number of felonies and misdemeanors that can be expunged in terms of numbers. It expanded the types of offenses that can be expunged, most significantly traffic offenses. And going back to that first point, it expanded the number of felonies and misdemeanors in the sense that an unlimited number of misdemeanors can now be set aside, and up to 3 felony convictions, as long as they're not of a certain type, that can be set aside. So that's a big difference from the prior version of the statute, which I'll talk about in just a moment. It also created, and this is kind of a really neat provision, and it was really a thoughtful provision and one that addresses a situation that a lot of applicants find themselves. It created the one bad night provision for combining separate but related offenses into one offense for the purpose of counting convictions. And we'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute too. And one issue that has sort of come up with respect to that. It adjusted the statutory waiting periods to consider the type and number of convictions sought to be expunged. So it's no longer just a standard 5 years. It's actually 3 years for most misdemeanors, 5 years for serious misdemeanors, and 1 felony. And for more than 1 felony, it's 7 years. So it's kind of a graduated way of approaching the waiting list, although the waiting periods. Although there is a problem with the statutory waiting period, which I'll talk about in a moment. Another huge facet of the Clean Slate Act is that it allows now for expungement of misdemeanor or ordinance marijuana convictions for past conduct that is now legal. In other words, since in November of 2018, when the people of the state of Michigan approved a ballot initiative to legalize the use and possession of recreational marijuana, that put people that had previously been convicted of those offenses in an awkward situation. I mean, now the conduct that they engaged in is now considered legal. So the legislature recognized that and came up with this provision to expunge misdemeanor or ordinance marijuana convictions and get them off of people's records, to treat them the same as the people that are currently using marijuana on a recreational basis. And finally, the Clean Slate Act mandated a system of automatic expungements for some convictions. That's likely to go into effect in 2023 or perhaps even later. Okay, let's contrast this, because this is how huge the Clean Slate Act is. It was about 60 years ago that Michigan passed its first expungement statute. The first expungement statute allowed 1 and only 1 conviction to be set aside after a waiting period of 5 years. And there were some exceptions for felonies with a punishment up to life, and traffic offenses could not be expunged. And that's obviously changed under the Clean Slate Act for the most part. If an applicant had 2 criminal convictions under this prior version of the statute, even convictions under the Motor Vehicle Code, something as simple as driving while license suspended, the applicant would be barred from setting aside any convictions. And this was the version of the statute that existed largely in its intact form until the Clean Slate Act came along. There was a minor change made to the expungement statute in 2014, which allowed 1 felony and up to 2 misdemeanors to be expunged. But as I've indicated, the Clean Slate Act allows an unlimited number of misdemeanors and up to 3 felonies to be expunged. So it's dramatically different than any version of the prior expungement statute. And certainly the original version that was in effect from 1965 until 2014, that was a very narrow and a very restrictive version of the statute. Only someone with a single criminal conviction and a spotless criminal record, apart from that, could even apply to set aside the conviction. An additional single misdemeanor, for example, in addition to, let's say, a felony or having 2 misdemeanors, no matter how old or insignificant, took expungement of any offenses completely off the table. And like I said, that version of the statute was pretty much in effect until 2014, and then with a little tweaking until 2020. So again, the Clean Slate Act is huge. Now, that's all the great stuff about the Clean Slate Act. It's a vast improvement over prior versions of the expungement statute from the perspective of an applicant and also of society as a whole. But one thing that we've seen in the 6 months or so that the Clean Slate Act has been in existence is that there have been several issues that have arisen in applying the Clean Slate Act. The waiting time. This is one of the biggest problems that cropped up almost immediately when we saw when people started actually using the Clean Slate Act to get expungements. and that is what happens if an applicant is convicted of another offense during the statutory waiting period. Well, it appears that the 2020 amendments, the Clean Slate Act, seem to indicate that if this happens, if during that 3-year period, 5-year period, or 7-year period, you get another conviction, the applicant's barred from setting aside the earlier conviction. If you read it plainly and read the plain language of the statute, as the courts often urge us to do, the plain language seems to say that applicant is out of luck at that point as to the earlier conviction. But what does that exactly mean? One interpretation is that the applicant has to wait to expunge the latter conviction, basically the conviction that they get later on, they have to wait to expunge that one, then go back and try to expunge the earlier first conviction. But again, it's not real clear. And it's surprising how many applicants this has impacted. And there is some movement in the state legislature to remove this language in the amended expungement statute that causes this to happen. This language was not in the prior versions of the expungement statute, so it was brand new. And I don't know if there was some thought put into what this was doing exactly, or if this was something that was intended. But in any event, there's a lot of movement to get the state legislature to change that, to take out that having a conviction during a waiting time creating problems. The one bad night provision. Now, this is a great, as I indicated earlier, a great piece of legislation because it treats a series of felonies or misdemeanors that occurred over the course of a 24-hour period to be considered one felony or one misdemeanor for purposes of the expungement statute. And when you think about it, the best example of this would be if you have a person who is disgruntled with his neighbors in his neighborhood. So one night during a 4-hour period, he keys the cars of 10 of his neighbors. The prosecutor charges this individual with 10 counts of malicious destruction of property, and he's convicted of those offenses. Now, even under the very expansive clean slate legislation, that's 10 is more than 3. So in a normal circumstance, without this one bad night provision, the applicant would be barred from setting aside any of those 10 offenses or anything else that he might have on his record. And what this does is it allows the applicant to say, well, those 10 convictions and offenses were all related. They all happened within a 24-hour period, and they were arose out of the same transaction. In this case, the individual anger at his neighbors for whatever reason. There are some exceptions to the one bad night provision. Certain offenses you can't combine, but by and large, you can do it with just about any convictions. One issue that has arisen with this, and it's a fantastic provision, and it has really saved a lot of people that otherwise would not be eligible for expungement. One issue that has arisen is who has the burden of proof of showing that an applicant is eligible or not eligible to count multiple convictions under one bad night. Is it the applicant? Is it the prosecutor? Is it the attorney general? That hasn't been real clear either. A lot of times, for example, when I've appeared at some of these hearings, the attorney general's office doesn't have knowledge about the underlying criminal offense other than what shows up on the criminal history. So we wouldn't necessarily know whether the applicant, whether these things happen within a 24-hour period or especially that they occurred out of the same transaction. The prosecutor might, the applicant certainly should. And I know in certain circumstances, I've actually questioned the applicant when I've appeared at some of these hearings to kind of get facts out before the court as to whether or not the one bad night provision might apply. That doesn't mean that it's necessarily on the attorney general to prove this or disprove it, but that's one thing that probably needs to be cleared up in the statute. All right, there are some parts of the Clean Slate Act that are still to come. The one that's coming up next is first-time drunk driving offenses, and that will be coming about in February of 2022. A few months ago, Governor Whitmer signed legislation that permits the expungement of first-time, and that's the important part of this, first-time operating while intoxicated convictions after a 5-year waiting period. Operating while intoxicated convictions, what does that mean? There's been some questions as to what kind of offenses. It's basically operating while intoxicated on alcohol, controlled substance, etc. All those kind of offenses that fall under Michigan compiled laws 257, 625 are considered operating while intoxicated offenses. Now, unfortunately for a lot of people, and we've gotten a lot of calls and questions about this, the effective date of this legislation is February 19th, 2022. So applicants cannot, or really shouldn't be filing applications to set aside or expunge first-time OWI convictions until about February or a little bit before February of 2022, because otherwise the court's going to deny it. And then you have to wait 3 years under the provisions of the expungement statute to refile. So I think the important thing is for people to be patient and to wait. The time will fly by fairly quickly, and they'll be able to start filing applications to set aside their first time operating while intoxicated convictions. The statute, how is this a court going to determine whether to allow a first time OWI conviction to be expunged, is that the court is directed, or at least may consider by the statute, a number of factors, including whether the applicant has benefited from rehabilitative or educational programs, and whether the applicant voluntarily availed himself or herself of such programs before sentencing. So basically, it comes down to how is the applicant doing in the 5 years plus since he or she got that first time drunk driving offense. So that's coming in February of 2022, and we expect. I saw a number the other day. I'm not sure if it's accurate, that this will apply to about 400,000 Michigan citizens. I mean, think about that. 400,000 Michigan residents are going to be able to get their first time drunk driving offenses expunged. And these kind of things follow people around. And people that have otherwise maybe not gotten into any trouble, they have one drunk driving offense early in their life, and that follows them around their entire life. Well, in Michigan now, under the Clean Slate Act, if you haven't gotten another one and 5 years has gone by, you can expunge that first time drunk driving offense. And I think that shows just exactly how progressive Michigan is in the expungement realm. I mean, I think we went from a pretty restrictive state in terms of expungement back in the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, to now we're in the 2020s, and we have probably one of the best expungement statutes in the country. And it's a credit to all the people that worked really hard, the legislature, groups like Michigan Works. People just came together in a bipartisan way to find a way to help Michigan citizens to expunge their records and clean their records of things that don't matter anymore, that they're a completely different person now. The final provision of the Clean Slate Act is something called automatic expungements. And under this provision, what is now required action on the part of an applicant, the need to file an application to expunge convictions, will be rendered unnecessary for many types of convictions. Not all, but for many types, after a specific waiting period time. 7 years for most misdemeanors and 10 years for felonies that can be expunged. And that's if the applicant has remained conviction-free during the 7 or 10 year waiting period. This is an excellent thought and an excellent idea, because I don't know how far we're going to be able to get that 6.5% of people that take advantage of the expungement statute up. I think this year and in the next couple of years, given all the publicity that the Clean Slate Act got, I think we're going to be able to see that number go up. But this covers people that probably would never think about getting an expungement, and it will automatically take care of that without the applicant or without the citizen having to do anything at all. The one thing that the legislature recognized is that this is going to be a sea change in how expungements happen. And there's a lot of question exactly how this is going to work. So as a result, the legislature gave state agencies until 2023 and possibly longer to develop and put into place systems for automatic expungements. Okay, I think that takes care of everything that I'm going to have to say. Before I turn it over for questions, I want to thank all of you again for all that you do for the state of Michigan and its citizens. It was an honor to spend some time with all of you talking about a subject that's very, very important to Attorney General Dana Nessel, as well as myself. So with that said, with the remaining time, I'll take any questions. I'll stop sharing my screen and go to the chat to see what questions are there now. Okay. The first question that I see, are there any efforts underway to increase capacity at the Michigan State Police? We have had to adjourn dozens of scheduled hearings due to the demand at MSP and challenges with processing the items prior to the scheduled hearings. That's an excellent question. It's something that we're seeing, because what used to take, one of the things that's required for an expungement is that the applicant has to provide has to get themselves fingerprinted and send those fingerprints to the Michigan State Police along with a copy of their application, so that the state police can run a criminal history and send it to the court and to the parties, including the Attorney General. Well, what that used to take 4 to 6 weeks, now that's taking 3 to 4 months sometimes. And we used to be able to, once we got that report, pretty quickly, within a couple of weeks, file our response. But we're backed up as well. And I think with the specific question, I think there are efforts underway to increase capacity at the Michigan State Police. The budget that's currently pending, I believe, may have some provisions to kind of help with this problem. It's a problem that everyone recognizes, because this whole process, which used to take a couple of months, now can take up to 6 months or even longer sometimes. And it's really unfortunate for people that have to keep showing up in court and getting hearings adjourned, because basically the state police, as well as the Attorney General, I'll admit, we're backed up as well. We're working on getting some funding specifically to get an attorney, for a full-time attorney, to work on expungements, as well as some additional support staff, because we basically have one paralegal who does all of the expungements under my supervision. And so we're hoping to increase our staff by adding an attorney, adding at least one more paralegal, and possibly adding some secretarial assistants. So, and I think the state police is trying to do the same. So hopefully, we'll see, we'll get that funding, and we'll also see a decrease in how long these things are taking to play out. Okay, the next question is, knowing how many people are eligible for expungement and that the current process can take months, what is being done to increase capacity of the system with court hearings, AG approval, et cetera, to move the process more efficient, shorter, and able to get more expungements completed? Well, I kind of already talked about what the state police and what the Attorney General is trying to do in terms of getting, as soon as we get our criminal history report from the state police, it's certainly our intent to get back to sending out those letters or responses within a week or two after we receive them. With the additional staff, I think we'll be able to do that. The one thing that can maybe temporarily help with this situation is if the courts aren't scheduling these things for hearing real quick. I think it's torture for individuals to have to wait, especially when they've been waiting probably long enough to get some of these expungements. But, some of the hearings should probably not be scheduled within a month or two of the application, but rather scheduled further out. So I would urge that if you're helping people with expungements, to make sure that the courts are scheduling the hearings significantly out from when the application is filed. And when I mean significantly, I mean at least a couple of months, 3 months, 4 months, maybe up to 6 months, to ensure that the state police and the AG and the prosecutor, who can also respond to these, all do their jobs. And like I said, there's funding at play to help us increase our staffing levels for expungements. Same is true of the state police. I know that some courts are actually innovating. They're actually calling putting together expungement dockets and dedicating a judge like one day a week to do an expungement docket. I think that's something that they're talking about doing and may have already started doing down in Wayne County. So it's a very, it's a problem that we kind of saw coming because we knew that there were so many more people that were going to be eligible under the Clean Slate Act. So we're working on improving the situation. It's certainly a situation we recognize is not optimal. The next question is, so if they have more than one OWI, is it a definite no at this point? Definitely no, at least at this point. If you have a second OWI offense, you're done. You can't get it expunged. It was a little bit more of a rough ride to get that passed and signed into law, that provision. So I think, there may be some time in the future that it expands to include 2 OWI convictions, but that's not going to be the case, at least for a couple of years. Would people be formally notified in 2023 when the automatic expungement, when the automatic expungement occurs, so that they are aware that they can state accordingly on applications? Excellent question. That's one of the things that's going to be worked out, is to figure out how to tell people that conviction that's no longer on your record has been automatically expunged. There's all kinds of logistical problems because, not having a recent address for somebody could be a problem. So that's one of those things that state agencies are trying to figure out how to do, because it won't do any good if the applicant, and that's why that's such an excellent question. They won't be able to take advantage of it, and they'll probably be still putting down on applications that they're convicted of things when they're not anymore. So it's going to be important that citizens get notified of when their convictions have automatically be expunged. The question is going to be just how is that going to be done? What mechanisms will be established for automatic expungements? Well, I can tell you this much. A lot of it is still on the drawing table, on the drawing board. I know that I'm working with the state police and other agencies to try to figure out the best way to do this and the way to accomplish this in the easiest way. Everyone's working as hard as they can, because I think the goal is to get this done in 2023 so that there isn't any more delay in the expungement process. Are any efforts underway? Here's the next question. Are any efforts underway to request judges to allow for video hearings, considering the Michigan Works Association's use of a resident-based eligibility and convictions could have taken place anywhere in the state? The travel can be a hardship for the program staff and applicants if the court is hours away. Excellent question as well. One of the things that I think, at least for now, and it depends on the court, a lot of courts are still are allowing remote hearings and allowing applicants to appear remotely. Do they have to do that? No. There hasn't been any mandate down on that, but that might be something that might be the subject of future legislation or possibly future court rules. I think one thing that this pandemic has done is made everybody realize that this kind of thing, doing hearings remotely, especially for something like an expungement, is entirely possible and in a much more efficient way of doing things. Not only are there people that are in state that are having to travel great distances for hearings, but there's also people from out of state that, since they got their convictions, they moved out of state and clear across the country, and they've got to fly back or come back, otherwise come back for these hearings. So that's an excellent question, and I guess I'd say stay tuned on that. What are the types of convictions that will not qualify? Well, I think the types of anything that has a life offense and potentially punishable by up to life in prison, and that would include anything like second-degree murder. I mean, obviously, first-degree murder isn't going to qualify, but something like second-degree murder, that's potentially up to life in prison. There's also some statutory exceptions. Certain domestic violence offenses cannot be expunged. Child abuse cannot be expunged. Human trafficking cannot be expunged. The list has grown, a little bit longer in terms of what kind of offenses cannot be expunged. Those are the ones that come to mind most quickly. And obviously, if you have multiple OWIs, that is something that's going to create a problem. The kind of offenses, life offenses, anything that is potentially up to life in prison, it doesn't have to mean that the person got life in prison, or these more serious criminal sexual conduct offenses, human trafficking offenses, child abuse offenses, terrorism offenses. Those are the most common ones that are not allowed to be expunged. Is retail fraud or shoplifting, in other words, considered a crime of dishonesty under Michigan law where it may not be eligible for automatic expungement? Excellent question. I don't, if I had to guess, I don't think that would be viewed as a crime of dishonesty. There's some legal reasons for that I don't want to spend time talking about, but in terms of retail fraud, I think that that's such a common offense, and really it doesn't necessarily show that somebody's dishonest. They may just have a kleptomania of some sort, and so I don't think it's necessarily a crime of dishonesty, and that's one of the things that will need to be worked out as the Michigan State Police figures all of this out and creates computer programs to do all of this automatically. That's an excellent question, though. It looks like there are no more questions right now. Again, I want to thank you all for all the great work you do on behalf of the citizens of the state of Michigan. We look forward to partnering with you and your local agencies as much as possible when we do expungement fairs. Attorney General Nessel is again, this is one of her prime initiatives as Attorney General, and we've had about 3 or 4 expungement fairs, at least 3 expungement fairs, and we plan on doing many more in the future. So thank you very much. Look forward to working with all of you, and have a great rest of the day and a great rest of the conference. Thank you.
Informative update, John. We really appreciate you taking time today to talk with us about the Clean Slate program. Before we move to our final session, I want to take a minute to recognize and thank our sponsors. A big thank you to our gold sponsors, Amesite, GST Michigan Works, Michigan Department of Labor and Economic Opportunity, Employment and Training, Operating Engineers 324, and SEMCA Michigan Works. Appreciation is also due to our silver sponsors, EDSC, Macomb St. Clair Michigan Works, Michigan Works Southeast, and Upper Peninsula Michigan Works. I'd also like to thank our bronze sponsors, the Michigan Workforce Development Institute, Michigan Works Northeast Consortium, Oakland County Michigan Works, and Skills First. And finally, a shout out to our contributing sponsors, Michigan Works West Central. Just a quick reminder to visit the exhibitor booths and to take a few minutes to network virtually with your colleagues. You can interact live with exhibitors in their booths, be randomly paired with another conference member for a 3-minute networking chat, or you can also privately chat with any member from the conference via the chat function. One final shout out to our exhibitors to thank them for their support of the annual conference. This year's exhibitors are AGS Data Systems, Amesite, GST Michigan Works, Michigan Manufacturing Technology Center, the National Association of Workforce Development Professionals, Nicole Lewis and Associates LLC, Operating Engineers 324, and Skills First. Thank you again, and enjoy the final keynote speaker, Ann Lair.